Hello everyone, and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The afternoon light crept through the half-drawn blinds in Taylor Hayes' office, leaving long shadows on the plush carpet and leather couch where so many secrets had been whispered over time. Taylor sat behind her desk, fingers tense, attempting to maintain the calm, professional approach that had defined her work as a psychiatrist. Today, however, the air felt heavier, laden with something unspoken and terrible. Deacon Sharp had just departed, his leaving words lingering like smoke. Words about happiness, wanting more, and the complex bond between them that neither had completely acknowledged until recently. Taylor's heart beat at the remembrance of his stare, which had softened as he mentioned feeling truly seen for the first time in years. She knew it wasn't right. He was married to Sheila Carter, a woman whose history of obsession and violence left a long, dark shadow over everyone she touched. However, the attraction had evolved softly, insidiously, during their meetings, transforming professional boundaries into something delicate and prohibited. Taylor stroked her temples, wishing the strain away. She had abruptly terminated the therapy, telling Deacon he could no longer be her patient. It was the ethical and only option, yet it did not eliminate the sentiments. If anything, it boosted them. She glanced at the clock. Another appointment was coming up, but her thoughts were elsewhere. That's when the door slammed open without a knock or warning. Sheila Carter stood there with wild eyes and lips twisted in a grin that didn't reach them. She wore a dark coat that buttoned up high, as if concealing something beneath it. Taylor's stomach sank. "Sheila," Taylor responded calmly, despite the unexpected rush of excitement. "You can't just barge in like this. We need to schedule." "I don't need an appointment," Sheila interjected, stepping inside and closing the door behind her with a faint, final click. "I need you to listen. Really listen." She drew closer, her presence looming over the room like a rain cloud. Taylor quickly pulled back in her chair to create space, but Sheila's gaze remained unblinking. Sheila had been stopping by unexpectedly for weeks, seeking advice on her marriage and how to win over Deacon's children, Hope and Deke, who detested her. Taylor had listened and provided unbiased advice while concealing her own developing attraction to Deacon. Sheila had even complimented her once, describing her as an ally in saving the marriage. The irony was burning now. Sheila paced slowly, words rushing out. How Deacon had become distant recently, how his family had pushed him away from her, and how she couldn't lose him since he was her entire world. "No one," she whispered, her voice lowering to a whisper, "is going to take him away from me. Not Hope, not Deke, and certainly not you." Taylor's breath hitched. The allegation hung there, fresh and obvious. Sheila knew, or at least suspected. Taylor tried to remain calm. "Sheila, if you're feeling threatened, we can talk about that. But this isn't." "Don't," she screamed. "Don't play therapist with me. I see the way he looks at you. I hear the hesitation in his voice when he mentions your name. You're not helping our marriage anymore, Taylor. You're destroying it." She reached into her coat pocket, and Taylor tensed, half expecting a weapon. Sheila's history made anything possible. Instead, Sheila took out a little vial and a towel. "Chloroform?" Taylor's thoughts raced. "No, not here, not in full daylight." Sheila lunged faster than Taylor expected. Taylor's mouth and nose were crushed against the fabric, and the harsh chemical aroma overwhelmed him. Taylor resisted, clawing at Sheila's arm, but Sheila was stronger, motivated by wrath and despair. "Sure," Sheila said, almost lovingly. "It's better this way. You'll understand soon." Taylor's eyesight dimmed, his limbs became heavy. The last thing she saw was Sheila's face, contorted with triumph and agony, before darkness took her. When Taylor awoke, the world was different, dark, chilly, and unknown. She was in a cramped, windowless room, her wrists fastened to a chair with zip ties. The air smelled like moist concrete and something metallic. A basement? A warehouse? Panic swelled as she tested the straps, but they remained strong. Footsteps approached from the shadows, and Sheila appeared with a tray containing water and a sandwich. She placed it delicately, like a hostess giving tea. "You're awake," Sheila murmured, her voice calm and almost compassionate. "Good. I didn't want to hurt you, Taylor. I just needed time. Time to make Deacon see that you're not right for him. That I'm the one who loves him unconditionally." Taylor's throat was dry, and his voice was raspy. "This is insane, Sheila. Kidnapping me will not save your marriage. It will destroy everything." Sheila angled her head, analyzing her like a specimen. "You think I haven't thought of that? I've lost everything before, my son, my freedom, my chance at normalcy. But Deacon, he's my redemption. And you were supposed to help, not steal him." She drew up another chair, sitting near enough for Taylor to feel the faint quiver in her hands. "Tell me, doctor, did you plan this? Did you use your sessions to worm your way in?" Taylor asked softly. "It wasn't planned. Feelings, they happen. But I tried to stop it." Sheila laughed, a hollow sound. "Tried. That's cute. You know, I've tried too. Tried to be the perfect wife, the forgiving stepmother. But people like you, beautiful, respected, connected, they always win. Not this time." Hours became what seemed like days. Sheila came and went, sometimes talking for hours about her past, her pain, and her love for Deacon. Other times, she remained mute, staring at Taylor with unsettling intensity. Taylor tried to reason with Sheila, appealing to her better nature and reminding her of Finn, her son, who would be distraught if she slid again. Sheila's expression softened at Finn's name, but only briefly. "Finn has Steffi. He has a family. I have Deacon. That's all." Meanwhile, back in Los Angeles, panic spreads. Deacon was the first to notice Taylor's absence. No calls, no arranged appointments. He went to her office and found it empty, with documents scattered as if she had left in a hurry. Panic set in. He was familiar with Sheila's routines and background. He approached her in Il Giardino, but she was too cool and poised. Taylor? Maybe she needed a break. People do that. Steffi and Finn followed. Steffi had already warned her mother about the risk after seeing the tense exchange between Taylor and Deacon. Steffi's anxieties grew when Taylor went missing. "It's Sheila," she informed Finn. "It has to be." Finn, divided between loyalty to his wife and a biological connection to his mother, contacted Sheila. She denied everything, her voice beautiful, but something about her tone sounded phony. Hope and Deke joined the search, connecting together Sheila's recent obsessions, her many visits to Taylor's office, her promises that no one would stand between her and Deacon. The police were involved, although the evidence was limited. Deacon retraced his tracks and discovered a discarded cloth in Taylor's office that had a faint chemical odor. His blood became chilly. In the concealed room, Taylor rubbed the zip ties against the chair's edge until her wrists bled. Sheila noticed and became agitated. "Stop fighting," she instructed. "This is temporary. Once Deacon realizes you're gone, he'll see how much he needs me." But he never did. He looked tirelessly, enlisting Ridge, Brooke, and anybody who would listen. In the midst of a crisis, the Forrester family mobilized, putting old grudges aside. Steffi remembered Sheila's previous abductions, hostages, and brutality. "We have to find her before it's too late." Days passed. Taylor weakened, but her resolve strengthened. She addressed Sheila like a patient rather than a captor, gently probing the grief behind the wrath. Sheila's voice cracked at times, and tears fell as she spoke of abandonment and never being enough. Taylor listened intently, providing empathy even as she plotted her escape. Sheila left the door unlocked one night, either out of carelessness or as a test. Taylor slipped free, his heart racing, and moved along the quiet halls. She found a phone and dialed Deacon's number while trembling her fingers. "It's me," she muttered. "She's holding me. I don't know where." The call ended as Sheila appeared, eyes blazing. A struggle began, with Taylor fighting, kicking, and shouting. Sheila defeated her again, but not before the neighbors heard the noise. Sirens sounded in the distance. Deacon arrived with cops and burst in just as Sheila raised her hand to strike. He tackled her and held her while authorities handcuffed her. Taylor collapsed in his arms, injured but alive. Sheila scowled from the floor, whimpering, "I only wanted to keep us together." Taylor recovered slowly in the aftermath, with treatment focusing inward as she processed her trauma. Deacon ended his marriage because he could not forgive Sheila's acts. He and Taylor were cautious, but their friendship endured, forged in danger, tempered by survival. Sheila faced charges, and her freedom was once again taken away. The city moved on, but the wounds remained, reminders that obsession might transform love into something terrible, and that even the most resilient minds can fail under strain. The day begins with an eerie silence over Los Angeles that feels deceiving, as if something dreadful is already happening beneath the surface. The customary hum of invention is muffled at Forrester Creations, with conversations stalling as tensions from previous family fights linger. Brooke goes through the workplace preoccupied, her mind centered on Taylor and the tenuous ceasefire that is barely held together. No one realizes that while they go about their daily lives, a dangerous scheme is already in motion. Taylor is abroad, attempting to regain a feeling of normalcy following weeks of emotional turmoil. She believes she is finally entering a more peaceful stage of her life, unknowing that Sheila Carter has been watching her every move. Sheila, driven by infatuation and bitterness, has convinced herself that Taylor is the only thing standing between her and the family she believes she deserves. Sheila believes that this is not lunacy, but rather destiny. She convinces herself that everything she does is justifiable, even vital. Sheila entices Taylor with a talk that promises closure. The message is carefully constructed, appealing to Taylor's instinct to heal and overcome conflict rather than avoid it. Despite her better judgment, Taylor decides to meet. There's a sliver of uncertainty, but Taylor dismisses it, feeling that confronting the past is the only way forward. This is a decision that will haunt her. The meeting place is distant, quiet, and unnerving. Taylor senses that something is wrong from the moment she enters. Before she can react, Sheila appears, her manner calm, but her eyes filled with danger. The conversation immediately becomes unnerving as Sheila starts talking in circles, blaming Taylor for every loss, rejection, and moment of suffering she has experienced. Taylor attempts to de-escalate by reminding Sheila of the hurt she has caused and pushing her to move away and get real treatment. Sheila does not listen. Instead, she exposes her plan in terrifying detail. She believes that by removing Taylor from the equation, everything will come together. Sheila incapacitates Taylor before she can go, demonstrating once more her willingness to go to any length. Taylor falls into darkness, her last thoughts filled with guilt over rejecting her senses. Taylor's family and friends become concerned when she fails to return phone calls. Brooke is the first to realize something is awry. She is all too familiar with the warning signs, having already experienced Sheila's dread. Rich tries to remain calm at first, but as hours pass without hearing from Taylor, he becomes increasingly concerned. He feels a jolt of terror as he realizes Sheila may be involved. Meanwhile, Sheila conceals Taylor, holding her captive while delivering strange speeches on family, betrayal, and second chances. Taylor, shackled but unbroken, attempts to reason with her captor, using on her experience as a psychiatrist to appeal to Sheila's remaining humanity. At times, it almost appears to work. Sheila pauses, her resolve waning as old fears reappear. Back at Forrester, the mood has shifted from concern to alarm. Ridge contacts the authorities, despite knowing from previous experience that time is not on their side. Finn begins to connect the dots, recognizing minor hints and previous behavior that lead unmistakably to his mother. The weight of Sheila's legacy bears down on him as shame and terror collide. He knows her better than anybody else, and this knowledge scares him. As the search escalates, Sheila becomes increasingly paranoid. She believes that everyone is closing in and that every sound is a threat. Taylor recognizes that the window of opportunity to flee is closing as her unpredictable behavior becomes worse. She seizes minor opportunities to instill doubt in Sheila, sowing the seeds of self-reflection. Taylor speaks on accountability, taking a different path, and letting go before it's too late. Brooke confronts Ridge, accusing him of underestimating the threat Sheila poses. Old scars reignite as blame resurfaces, but underneath the rage lies a common fear. Their convoluted history pales in comparison to the prospect of losing Taylor permanently. Even Steffi, despite her own prior suffering, turns her anxiety into determination, insisting they would not let Sheila harm another life. Sheila's internal turmoil reaches a climax when recollections of previous misdeeds flood her consciousness. She convinces herself she isn't that woman anymore, but her actions show otherwise. Taylor, detecting a shift, pushes harder, warning Sheila that this route will lead to solitude and grief. The tension between them grows oppressive, with each syllable bearing the burden of survival. A breakthrough occurs when Finn discovers a clue that narrows down Sheila's location. The level of urgency rises as police mobilize. Ridge persists on getting involved, reluctant to stay behind while the lady he loves is in danger. Every second feels like an eternity as they sprint against the clock, tormented by the prospect that they are already late. Back at the hideout, Sheila's grasp on reality deteriorates. She alternates between wrath and remorse, believing that Taylor deserves this destiny. Taylor, fatigued yet determined, braces herself for what comes next. She refuses to let fear consume her, gaining strength from her children and the life she still wants to safeguard. As sirens ring out in the distance, Sheila realizes the end is coming. Panic overwhelms her, and she considers harsh methods. Taylor's heart races as she detects the shift and braces herself. In the midst of confusion, Sheila strikes out, but her hesitancy costs her vital seconds. The officials stormed in, and the confrontation reached an explosive conclusion. The aftermath is intense and emotional. Taylor is rescued, startled but unharmed. Ridge hugs her as if letting go might cause her to vanish. Tears fall freely as relief collides with trauma. The ordeal leaves permanent scars on everyone involved. Sheila is led away, her face a mask of resistance and anguish. Even in defeat, she refuses to take responsibility, screaming about betrayal and unfairness. Finn watches silently, split between relief and grief, knowing that loving Sheila has always required living in the shadow of her evil. In the days that follow, the repercussions spreads throughout all relationships. Taylor suffers from nightmares and memories, but she is not alone. Brooke and Ridge try to restore broken trust, reminded of how delicate life can be. Steffi clings to her family, hoping to end the cycle of violence that has plagued them for generations. The event pushes everyone to face hard facts about forgiveness, boundaries, and the consequences of ignoring warning signs. Taylor strives to heal, both physically and mentally, refusing to let Sheila determine her future. She chooses resilience over fear and optimism over bitterness. As life at Forrester Creations gradually returns, the shadow of Sheila's actions lingers. Conversations are more cautious, and embraces occur more frequently. Nobody takes safety and stability for granted anymore. They've been reminded that evil doesn't always make itself known. It lurks, watches, and strikes when least anticipated. Yet, despite the gloom, there is growth. Taylor discovers a new purpose, Brooke achieves clarity, and Ridge recommits to safeguarding what truly counts. Even Finn, troubled by his mother's decisions, vows to live a life defined by integrity rather than heredity. The ordeal becomes yet another chapter in a long saga of love, treachery, and survival. Though the threat is past, the memory lingers on, serving as both a warning and a testament to courage. And, while Sheila's reign of terror has been ended once more, everyone understands that healing is a journey, not a destination, and that courage frequently emerges when fear is at its peak.